Welcome to Politics Nation. I'm Al Sharpton. Tonight's lead, 83 days till voters hit the polls. And the president is laying it all on the line. In a passionate speech today, he made it crystal clear who's really fighting for America's seniors. And he lashed out at Congressman Ryan's radical proposal to gut Medicare. But folks, someone else suddenly seems unsure of the Ryan plan, too. Someone you wouldn't think.
Doesn't your budget also contemplate very major savings from Medicare on something like the same amount?
Only President Obama raised $716 billion from the Medicare program.
You make savings. How much?
More. The point is, I joined the Romney ticket.
The Romney ticket? Huh? Someone suddenly isn't so proud of his bold plan that turns Medicare into voucher programs, raising eligibility age to 67, and forces seniors to pay $6,400 more for health care. Mr. Ryan only wants to talk about the Romney ticket. He's flipping and flopping on his own legislation. Well, that makes him the perfect running mate for Governor Romney. On the day Ryan unveiled his budget, Mr. Romney couldn't stop gushing.
I applaud it. It's an excellent piece of work and very much needed.
Very much needed. Excellent piece of work. Let's hear him applaud it some more.
This is the guy who's willing to stand for something.
Congressman Ryan and I are in the same position with regards to making sure we save Medicare.
This is the proposal which Congressman Paul Ryan has adopted. It's a proposal which I believe is absolutely right on.
It's right on. They're in the same position until, well, they're not.
Some people are saying you are making it a referendum on Paul Ryan's budget plan.
Well, I have my budget plan, as you know, that I've put out, and that's the budget plan that we're going to run on.
Your budget plan? But what happened to Right on Ryan? What happened to having the same position as Ryan? Maybe Mr. Romney has clarified since then.
Are there any specific policies in your budget that you think are
There may be. We'll take a look at the differences.
Okay, I got it straight. Mr. Romney's going to look at the differences. Well, surely he's looked at them since Monday.
There are some differences, but they're very similar.
You heard the governor. Their budgets are different, but very similar. That explains everything, folks. This is why Governor Romney and Paul Ryan are making up absurd claims that the president is taking money away from seniors. Let's be clear, they're wrong. President Obama has been fighting for Medicare and our seniors since day one, and he made that point today.
I think they know their plan's not very popular. You can tell that because they're being pretty dishonest about my plan. Here's what you need to know. I have strengthened Medicare. I have made reforms that have saved millions of seniors with Medicare hundreds of dollars on their prescription drugs. I've proposed reforms that will save Medicare money by getting rid of wasteful spending in the healthcare system. Reforms that will not touch your Medicare benefits, not by a dime. Their plan ends Medicare as we know it. My plan reduces the cost of Medicare by cracking down on fraud and waste and subsidies to insurance companies. Their plan makes seniors pay more so they can give another tax cut to millionaires and billionaires. That's the difference between our plans on Medicare. That's an example of the choice in this election, and that is why I'm running for a second term as President of the United States of America.
That's the president's plan. Pretty straightforward, huh? Guess that's easy when you're proud of your policy. Joining me now is Anna Marie Cox, Washington correspondent for The Guardian, and Jared Bernstein, an MSNBC contributor and former chief economist for Vice President Joe Biden. First, thanks to both of you for coming on the show tonight.
Thank you for inviting me, Rob.
Thank you.
Jared, let me start with you. Did Romney not read the Ryan plan before he signed him on as his running mate?
Not only did he read it, but he very much endorsed it, as you just saw. Look, the first thing these two guys need to do is take a day off campaigning, get in a room together, and figure out what the heck they're talking about. Because it's not that they're contradicting each other on some minor detail. This is over $700 billion. That's real money. What the president said is precisely accurate on the policy, which matters the most. But the Affordable Care Act, the kinds of efficiency savings that he generates in Medicare, that he then plows into helping to improve coverage, to pay for prescription drugs, to provide wellness visits free of charge for seniors, that extends the life of the program by 8 years.
Right.
Now, if the Republicans, Ryan and Romney, want to take that away, then it's bye-bye to those 8 years, and it very clearly weakens the Medicare Trust Fund. But they're so kind of all over the map with this that it's really hard to figure out where they're coming from today.
Now, Anna Marie, Congressman Ryan, in a radio interview not too long ago, really just a short time ago, he said the president is vulnerable on Medicare. Take a listen.
I am eager to have this debate. We're going to have this debate. We're going to win this debate. And the reason you're hearing these kinds of things is because the president knows that he is so vulnerable on this issue. It's the president who took $716 billion from the Medicare program to spend on Obamacare. That's cuts to current seniors that will lead to less services for current seniors.
Now, Anna Marie, he says the president is vulnerable, not him. What do you say to that?
Well, maybe what we're seeing here is a little bit of the audacity of hope for the Republican ticket. I mean, it's certainly an audacious thing to do to accuse this president, a Democrat, of weakening Medicare, which has been such a strong, plank for the Democrats for so long. And also, I have to say that we're having this Medicare debate, and I think that they're happy to have that. Ryan's budget cut $800 billion from Medicaid, which would start taking effect right away, and would affect something like 6 million seniors right away. And that's just as important in this idea that we're having this debate that will somehow have an impact down the line, I think distracts people from the real choice that they're looking at that will have an effect, just a few years from now.
Absolutely. Now, Jared, you're the economist. Explain to me, the president's $716 billion that was taken out was not taken out from the insured or from the benefits. Correct. It was cut on fraud and cut on other waste. It was not taken from the benefits. What the Ryan plan does takes actually from the benefits and from the people that would be serviced. So we're talking apples and oranges, though they're trying to say that the $716 billion was taken from the actual benefits or the seniors to pay for Obamacare, which is blatantly untrue. Am I right?
You are right about that. The last point is absolutely correct. What we just heard Representative Ryan say is blatantly untrue, and the president made this point. That's that the cuts, the $716 billion of savings in Medicare, cuts in the Ryan budget are used in very different ways. They do not hurt beneficiaries at all. In fact, Medicare services improve under the Affordable Care Act in ways I just mentioned. Prescription drugs, closing this thing called the donut hole, ensuring more people, more coverage under both Medicare and Medicaid and other factors I've mentioned so far. Under the Ryan plan, so it's really a matter of who you're targeting here, the delivery system or the beneficiaries. Under the Ryan plan, by turning Medicare into a voucher whose value rises slower than the actual cost of purchasing Medicare coverage, that now you're shifting the risk onto Medicare beneficiaries. Now, the median income of Medicare beneficiaries in this country is $25,000. And if you think those folks can easily reach into their pockets and make up the difference between what that voucher is going to pay for and what they need for Medicare, I think you're wrong.
So, Anna Marie, if we're taking the money from the beneficiaries, if we're impacting the beneficiaries under Ryan's plan, Yes, I see the audacity in him saying that the president's plan, which really deals with waste and fraud, something I thought Republicans always wanted to eliminate, is clearly not hurting the beneficiaries. Then when you look at the fact that Mr. Ryan's plan clearly guts Medicare, it turns Medicare into a voucher program, it raises the age to 67 to be eligible, and it makes seniors pay $6,400 more. I mean, one can understand how they either don't want to discuss this or have to start making bold distortions to even get a fair or to get a hearing here where people would look at them like what they were saying was just not totally irrational.
Well, you know, sometimes it is easier to get people to believe the big lie, you know, rather than a series of small lies. And this is certainly a big, big lie, as we've been discussing. The numbers don't lie about this. The numbers don't lie, just Paul Ryan does. And it's also true that the president is right about where these, you know, savings in Medicaid and Medicare go. They go to tax cuts for the rich. It's not only taking money from people who need it, it's giving money to people who don't need it, which is sort of the essence of the Republican, you know, tax plan in general. But this is a very specific example of it.
And some seniors can't even afford it, but my time is up. Thank you, Anna Marie Cox and Jared Bernstein. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ahead, Paul Ryan on the ticket is sending shockwaves through the Republican Party. Everyone is forced to run with him. And you won't believe what Speaker Boehner is saying to reassure his team. Plus, more secrets from the Republican ticket. They won't explain how their policies add up. So I guess we should be surprised to hear this today.
The more we release, the more we get attacked. The more we get questioned, the more we get pushed. And so we have done what's legally required, and there's going to be no more tax releases.
And Mr. Romney says President Obama is running a campaign of division and hate. He has it all wrong. You're watching Politics Nation on MSNBC.